Hey, well, it's Wednesday, June 10th, 1 week after we started this question of the week thing, and that was, who do you think the best trainer of all time was? And Coolpepper and D2 Spencer, they were asking me about it. I said, cool, we'll run with it. And after going over it, I got, I did the top 10. I might have done 11 or 12 because I really don't want to try and leave anyone out. And Coolpepper brought up a good point. He's like, well, I'm only 24 years old, man. I haven't been around, long enough to really know these older trainers and stuff like that. And yeah, that's cool. So maybe some of these questions I'll pose will be like the new school, which is if you're 30 or under, and old school if you're 30 or above. Not that you're old, it's just that you're more knowledgeable. Okay? For you guys over 30. So the first one I saw was Dragon Style 619. Booyaka, booyaka, 619. There's no way to know who the best trainer ever was. It all depends on the relationship that you have with the fighter, knowing your fighter style of trainer, how good the fighter is. But if you had to pick, and I said, pick one. He's talking about he would go with Angelo Dundee. The guy I picked, so I threw him in there. Alabangboys. He said, first he starts out, kind of talking about Floyd the Joke, Mayweather Sr. and stuff, but he's like, Roach, is one of the greatest trainers of all time in boxing, because not just all his achievements and success, it's the relationship, that he has between him and Pac-Man. Pacquiao, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. I think he'd be remembered as a trainer that accurately predicts his fights, studies all their opponents, comes with a great game plan. They all work very well. He proved it already. Major factor in Manny's victories, Hall of Fame. And I think you can say that, but, voice for Vendetta. The greatest trainer should be able to mold himself around a fighter without completely changing the fighter's style, just making him better. And he would have to say Freddie Roach again. Just because of the different types of fighters that he's had, from Mike Tyson, James Toney, Oscar De La Hoya, all the way down to Pacquiao. He really has a huge list of fighters who vary in styles dramatically, and that's true, along with attitudes and personality. He has already trained great MMA fighters as well, so he's showing his abilities, his adaptabilities even. He's able to cross over into the other side. Joey Gonzo came across here. Luduva and Stewart, he's not given a whole lot of credit to because he says they've blown too many fights. Dundee was great, but he was a better strategist than developing talent. He wants to go with Eddie Futch for being who started with Joe Louis, continuing with Frazier, Holmes, and Bowe. Deserved top spot. And man, he mentioned a lot of other guys. Hernandez, Zarate, Zamora, Jueves, Pintor. He's talking about Hernandez, who developed all those guys. And said I didn't give him any love. And I'm like, dude, I only got 10 minutes. Yuri, 30, 30, 30. And he says, again, Freddie Roach, all-out fighter, understands, respects the game, brings out the best in his fighters, protects his fighters. Man, really goes through a lot. D2 Spencer, heard Emmanuel Shearer doesn't do as much with the pads, but he really respects him and with his pre-fight stuff, and everybody does. But he throws in a guy, Val Colbert, or Colbert, who trained at Joe Frazier's, including Terrence Carthen, Burt Cooper, Oliver McCall, Mike Jones, Terrence Frazier. So he's throwing a little personal bias in there with Val Colbert. Another one, 10-15. He said one chime in, talking about Angelo Dundee, a disciple of Charlie Goodman, Rocky Marciano's trainer. Arcel, who was Duran's trainer. I mean, this guy's been around long enough, so he trained, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, in a corner with Foreman. So being able to span that time frame, there he pulls with him. Let's see. Next page. Bulldog, 359. Ray Arcel showed he could adapt with the vast differences in age and boxing as he trained Jimmy Braddock. I'm going within the 20s, all the way to Duran in the 70s. Man, that's 50 years. Even Larry Holmes, along with absolute legends such as Henry Armstrong, Kid Gallivan. He says there's no one else like him, the greatest. And that's a great thing there. The RF01. Customato trained 3 great champs in Tyson, Patterson, Torres from the beginning of their careers. So he doesn't think Angelo Dundee has done that. Freddie Roach hasn't either. He says maybe I'm wrong. His longevity was from the 50s right through the 80s till his death, which is true. He advised Ali for some of his fights, notably against Frazier, and he also did it with against. He gave him advice against Foreman too, talking about you got to bust him in the mouth right off the bat, man. You got to go in there. So and he produced trainers like Atlas. Jensonofmull says Enzo Calzaghe. How do you not consider him one of the great trainers if he has a fighter that's 46-0 and is arguably one of the greatest super middleweights of all time, with all his title defenses and everything he's done? Incredible undefeated career, beating a lot of top fighters. The skill required in fighting as many diverse fighters as Joe did takes a lot of hard work. He said even when fights weren't going so well, like the Kessler fight, they were able to switch it around there. Did a lot better. Look at the... and he said in the fact that it was a father and son tandem, it's really hard for that to actually work out. Family doesn't always work the best. And he points to the Floyds, senior and junior. And then idatomhue. And he points to, he says, well, you got to go with Floyd Mayweather Sr. He says Floyd Mayweather has technically the best modern boxer. He can throw all the punches, has fantastic footwork, and great technically sound defense. He also has a great talent, but has the best orthodox fundamentals, and could have only gotten that way by being taught properly. Whoever taught him must be considered a great trainer, not because Floyd is a great fighter, but because he does everything right in the ring. Which brings up a good point. I mean, if you can be the greatest trainer in the world, but if your fighter doesn't do what he says, he's going to suck. Okay, so that's what we have. You read that, and obviously Roach seems very hot now, and more people are going toward Roach than anybody else. And you could point out that Roach's fighters fight better. Look at Amir Khan. Look at Manny Pacquiao and how he's turned that around. Pretty much every fighter that he gets involved with looks better. Arlovsky, this is MMA now, when he fought Fedor Emelianenko, was winning that fight till he did that really dumb knee thing, which Roach advised him not to do. So you'll have that. Okay, that's done. The next question of the week. Question of the week. What rematch would you most like to see? What rematch? What fight just has you just seething? Every time you think of it, you just get mad because you think your guy got robbed, and you think that the other fighter deserves that shot, that rematch that he never got. It could be any fight. I don't care how long ago it was. I don't care how recent it is. Me personally, it's Marvelous Marvin Hagler never got that rematch against Leonard. I think that was crap. I think he got robbed, and that's the one fight that I really wish I would have saw Hagler fight again after that instead of retiring, because he got jobbed. Me personally, that's what I think. So what do you think? Let me know, alright? And we'll get back to it next week, alright? Well, this is Big Ragu. I'm out.